Beautiful one out here, guys. We've been on this thread from morning hour to this time being the afternoon. Okay, so I got this entry around this zone on the previous resistance here. So that was our first entry on this thread, guys. But the market while pushed down a little, it strike it down to our SL, which was at this very point. But having seen what had been happening previously on the market aspect, from this aspect, so having seen what happened there, so I told my followers to hold the trade and they shouldn't exit our this SL, so that I should hold it up, and we're going to have that downward movement despite the little push up that the movement is going to come up. So that's why so we didn't exit at that very point. So those of you in my group should be aware of that. So the market had to, rather, instead of us to exit at this point, we have to add layers. I told them to add layers. So the market has to strike this spike for a stop hunt. So after this spike, you can see what has been happening. So when it came to this our first entry, I asked them to close up the first entries and hold the layers. So that's been exactly what has been happening, and you can see where we are right now. So let me show you. Okay, so this was where we made the entry. So I told you our SL was at 87.70 level, which was hit, but I told them to hold it. They shouldn't close their positions from what I explained to you on the chart. So at that very place, I told them to add layer, okay, on this step index. So when the market did the spike, I told them to hold it. So guys, I know that this market is going to reverse. This trade, I entered it with confidence. I know that it's gonna reverse back. I know that this trade is gonna pay us today. So we held it. So this is what I told you. So this was our first entry. Okay, our first entry was there as I told you. The market went up, so added some positions before it's down, started reversing back. So this was exactly how it happened. So at this point, I told them to close first entries. So you can see my subsequent entries was this. That's the layers, while the first entries was this. So I asked them to close the first entries. I still told them again, close first entry on BE. That's break even, and hold layers. So I specifically told them to hold layers because I know that the layers is going to pay us. So I asked them to hold layers. You can read it out from here. So as we keep going, for me, I close up my first entries. So I don't tell them to do a different thing, then I do a different thing. No. So they thread my signal. So I have to carry them along on everything I'm doing. So this was the result one of the group members sent to me. Okay, so we'll keep going. So what happened here, guys, that I need us to understand is that when the market came to my first entry, after closing it up, I had to move my SL for the layers up here. I have to move it to my first entry. So if this market, upon hitting this very place, reverses back, then I'm going to go out from the market with a good profit. Okay, so guys, one thing is to get your entry, one thing is to manage your trade very well. So as I did mine, I also told them to modify their SL to your profit zone. So one thing about following my signal is that I'll still be guiding you on when to exit, even though I will give you SL, but I still have to be guiding you because there is one thing we talk about trade management. It's not everybody that is good in trade management. That's why most times you see people, a trade has been running in their profit, reverses back, as in a trade has given them so much profit, reverses back, went back and hit their SL, and they close the trade and losses. While that same trade, some other person made a huge amount of money from that same trade, but you're gonna end up losing. Okay, so that's where trade management comes in. Okay, so you can see where we ran down to, and at this point, so now this is still another aspect of the trade management. Remember, my first move to my profit zone was at my first entry. So as the price sank more, I had to modify it more. Do you understand that? By so doing, I try to maximize my profits. Okay, So now this is another thing on this very thing. You have to like when you are winning, try as possible as you can to maximize, to make more money on that very winning trade. I'm not saying that you got to be greedy. While doing it, you have to do it psychologically. You can see how I'm doing my own. I'm following it up with SL. I'm following it up. Here is my target. But I'm not insisting that it must get here. So as I'm making more money, I'm trying to secure it. I'm trying to protect it. So that if the market reverses back, I'm going to go out with what I have. Okay. So while trying to maximize your profit, the winning trade, also try to do it logically. Okay. So the market moved more. You can see that. So after this point, the market moved more down. Then I push it more. Okay. So this is how I've been following this trade. So at this point, now look at where I've kept it. Okay. So as the market move down more, break my take profit here, I push it down here. So that if the market, okay, break that very level, I'm going out. So here I told them I'm going out here, guys. So if the market push at this very point, then I'm going to close. And this is exactly the current place the market is now. So let's go back to the chart and see what is actually going on there. If the market has actually hit that very level, okay, you can see that the market is ranging in that very level. So if the market comes down and hits this very point, I'm going to close all the positions. So that's just how I've set this market for. So let me explain to us the psychology I got before I made this entry. This is one of the things that I always give people to take home in my thread, in my video. I try to dash out the piece of information, the piece of confidence that I got before I make the entry, because I think this is the learning aspect of it. This is what most of you guys are interested in learning should have as a take home. So look at what happened. The market broke out this range here. When it broke out, it went back and retested, then pushed down. When it pushed down, it broke these lows. So when it was now coming back at this very point, upon testing the previous low of the previous high, I felt it that the market is going to start pushing down another break at this low again, because it came, it broke here, it came again, it broke, then it came again. So that was why I had to make this very entry at this very point, which was my initial entry. So what I had was just a previous resistance. It was just a previous resistance, which was this. So it was this rejection, this resistance that prompted me for this first entry. That is the sincere truth. Now, not just the resistance, upon seeing this series of rejection that occurred at this very point, upon seeing this series of rejections that occurred at this very place of resistance, then also if you check very well, you see that my psychological level is also close. My sub-psychological level of 87.65 is also close at that same point. So these are the three confidences that I got. My previous resistance, which is this series of rejections, and also my psychological level that happened at this very same level. So these three confluences was the reason why mostly where I entered this trade, not considering the indicator, okay, because I still have my confluence from my indicator at that very point. Remember what I told us at the 55 level. So at this point when the market was there, the indicator was at 55 level. And whenever indicator comes at the 55 level, I told us that is the indecision level of the market. So at this very point, anything can happen. The buyers can take over, the sellers can take over. So we're not gonna just jump in. We're rather to see the rejections, we're rather to see the power of the buys or the power of the sells. So at this very point, I came and I saw the power of the sells, and I thought that it's gonna hold. So that was why we started making our entry at this very point. So guys, what is the take home? The take home is that no matter how sure you are, guys, make sure you minimize your risk. Because if you have taken much positions from this point, upon this spike up, you're gonna go out, or your account is gonna get blown. So, but when you risk a little and you see this with the instructions I gave in the group, you should know that, yeah, the market is going to run. So, and actually the market ran. So that's exactly what happened here. So I'm not gonna make this video a long one, guys. I'm not gonna make it a long one, but I hope you've learned something from this analysis that I just did. Okay. For me also, I've learned something. And what is it that I learned? I just have to recall my rules, because at this very point, if you look very well upon the rejections, I couldn't get a bearish engulfing candle. Yes, I didn't get a bearish engulfing candle, even though with the series of rejection that occurred, but still there was no bearish engulfing candle, showing that the sellers has taken advantage of the market. So that was the lesson. It's just a recalling of what I already know. Okay, guys. So see you guys in the next video. I know that you've learned something from this video. So upon trading your support and resistance, what is the take home on it? Make sure that you see that power of the buys or the power of the sells before you go in. Bearish engulfing, bullish engulfing. So see you guys in the next video. Thank you guys. Thank you guys. Away, away, away.